today, and that is allegations as well as speculation about whether or not a foreign country was involved in the horrific, tragic, and heartbreaking death of Charlie Kirk. You are seeing more and more rumors about this spreading online. So I thought the best thing to do would be to sit here with you all in front of this camera, go through what we know, what has been publicly said by officials and the media, and then break down from there what we can actually point to and say, hey, we know this, and then what is speculation, and then what is just baseless, crazy accusations that are floating around. Because in a tragedy like this, it's critically important that facts matter and that we have rational, calm, level headed conversations. We ask questions, but we ask questions with actual evidence or at least the belief that there's something to look into there. Obviously, this Charlie Kirk situation has rattled a lot of people, myself included. I think that what happened to him is unbelievably terrible. Yet it doesn't mean that we can't ask questions. We can't dive into what happened, the videos, all of it. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you my thoughts after we lay out the evidence. And then I want to know what you guys think. But before we get started, as always, please make sure to like and subscribe. Totally free. Cost you guys absolutely nothing at all. Huge boost to the channel. Comment with your thoughts below. Comment with what you think is going on. Comment with your thoughts on Charlie, your memories of Charlie. Whatever is on your chest, feel free to get it off in the comment section. I'm reading as many comments as I can. Hit that bell, all notifications turned on. You won't miss a thing. And then right here, Instagram, David_Hookstead, XD Hookstead. You can see it here too. That's where you can find me on social media. My DMs are open. If there's any tips or anything you want to send me, please send me them there. And now let's get into it. As everybody knows, Charlie was killed on September 10th at Utah Valley University when a gunman shot and struck him in the neck from roughly 200 yards away from an elevated firing position. The suspect, who's been taken into custody, is named Tyler Robinson. He was taken into custody after his dad turned him in. I know Kash Patel went out there and tried to claim this was some big victory for the FBI. The reality is they had almost nothing to go on. And there was very little information they shared with the public other than some grainy security camera photos. Tyler allegedly confessed to his dad. His dad then turned him into the authorities. That is what we know for a fact. We further know Tyler was apparently deeply involved in online culture, different dark web forums, different I don't know if they're called chat rooms. I don't know what kids call them these days or how they work. And some of these groups that he was speaking to and speaking with were very dark in nature, incredibly nihilistic almost in nature. And that might be the most polite way to say it. So we know this. Spencer Cox, the governor of Utah, has said that he had a far left ideology. This is backed up by witnesses. And we know that some interesting information has surfaced about the person he was living with. We can't even talk about that on YouTube without the video getting taken down. So we're not going to. You can research that for yourself out there. It didn't take long once this started and this information came out or pretty much as soon as the shooting happened, for people to point fingers and wonder if a foreign government had to be involved. I'm going to play a series of videos here where we're going to get all this out in the open, kind of where that came from, all that stuff, and what motivated that speculation. And then we're going to break down, is it actually possible? What are people saying behind closed doors in DC? What are people involved with the investigation or no Charlie? What are they saying? I want everyone to have an open mind, and I'm going to explain to you how this situation works. Remember, I talked about the chat rooms. Well, I will explain a little bit about how that could work. We saw a bunch of people immediately point fingers at Israel, and Bibi Netanyahu had to come out and deny that they were involved. Again, we need to stick to the facts. As of right now, that is not as of right now, probably forever. That is a ridiculous thing to float. That is a ridiculous thing to say unless you have credible evidence. As of making this video, no such credible evidence exists that claim is true. Thus, it's not even worth the time for me to address it. I will address in a broader sense how foreign governments operate online when it comes to radicalizing people, and we'll dig into it from there. So first, I'm going to put this up on the screen. This is where this first kind of jumped off. This is the press conference where they are going to ask directly about foreign involvement, and the FBI, instead of ruling it out, says they're not going to speak about it. So let's watch.
Investigation's ongoing, and as soon as we have further information, we will be sure to release it.
Any indications of foreign intelligence involvement?
As of now, I can't comment on any of that.
So if, in case you guys missed that, he gets asked point blank about foreign intelligence involvement. Let's watch it again.
The investigation's ongoing, and as soon as we have further information, we will be sure to release it.
Any indications of foreign intelligence involvement?
As of now, I can't comment on any of that.
So the FBI would not comment on it. Well, obviously that stirred up a lot of speculation. Well, what do you mean you can't comment on it? That should be kind of an easy yes or no. If you don't have any proof of that, you just come out and say no, but that's not what he does. He refuses to comment. I'm not saying that was right or wrong for him to handle it that way. I'm just telling you that's what he said. You all just saw it on video. That leads me to this video of John Solomon. We'll go full screen for you here, where he indicates that there are some foreign tips, foreign intelligence.
And we all lost, and no matter what side of the political aisle you're on, we lost something important in America today. But the case goes on, the investigation goes on. There's a lot of piecing of evidence together. We don't have a shooter tonight. We have a couple leads, a couple people that were released that probably aren't the shooter. There's a couple hot leads. There's a little bit of foreign intelligence. And I think over the next couple of days, we will learn a lot more. And hopefully we will bring to justice the evil person who did what they did to Charlie today.
Yeah, I hope so. I am hearing that they do have a couple of people of interest. That's the latest I heard from law enforcement.
So let's watch it again.
That probably aren't the shooter. There's a couple hot leads. There's a little bit of foreign intelligence. And I think over the next couple of days, we will learn a lot more. And hopefully we will bring to justice the evil person who did what they did to Charlie today.
So that comment about a little bit of foreign intelligence set the internet on fire, because it's just kind of one quick soundbite. People took it, ran with it, and, you know, here we are. So now we'll do this one. I don't know. Can you guys see that? Is it up on the screen? It is. Let's watch it.
Just add a word note for those people who are spending so much time on.
So this is again Utah Governor Spencer Cox addressing. He's going to make some comments about foreign influence in this situation. Let's watch.
Social media. I think Charlie said it best, that when things get bad, we should put our phones down and spend a little time with our families. There is a tremendous amount of disinformation. We are tracking our team, the state team, and I'm sure the federal team as well. What we're seeing is our adversaries want violence. China, we have bots from Russia, China, all over the world that are trying to instill disinformation and encourage violence. I would encourage you to ignore those, to turn off those streams, and spend a little more time with our families. We desperately need some healing. We'll have more to say about that in the days and weeks to come. More than anything, we are going to catch this person.
So right there, Utah Governor Spencer Cox said during a press conference that the Russians and the Chinese were using Charlie's death to immediately whip people into a frenzy, sow chaos, sow confusion, sow anger, and bots were going online to promote this. I have no doubt that's true. And I'll explain why here shortly. And in fact, the Russians, let me throw this up on the screen. This comes from Newsweek. It says Russian officials use Charlie Kirk's death to attack Ukraine. Scroll down a little bit. It says Russian officials allied with Vladimir Putin, who's of course the leader of Russia, have responded to the assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk by blaming the left and Ukraine supporters for political violence in the U.S. Former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev and Kirill Dmitriev a key Kremlin negotiator with the Trump administration over Ukraine, weighed in on the shooting of Kirk, founder of the right-leaning youth organization Turning Point USA. Kirk was popular in Russia for his anti-NATO stance and criticism of Ukraine President Zelensky. Medvedev linked the murder to supporters of Kiev, while Dmitriev reposted a video showing alleged leftists in full celebration mode over Kirk getting shot. Obviously, there were a lot of people who celebrated it, and that is disgusting and appalling. A manhunt for the killer is ongoing, and no motive has been confirmed. The Russians were pushing this narrative prior to Tyler Robinson being arrested. The Russian officials' posts come amid an outpouring of condemnation across the political divide for the killing of Kirk. Mark Shanahan, a U.S. politics expert from the University of Surrey in England, told Newsweek that Kirk's killing showed an already, I think that's pronounced febrile America, now even more on edge. Why it matters. Kirk, a staunch ally of President Donald Trump and a key MAGA figure, had been critical of Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelensky, whom he described as a puppet of the CIA, and had previously said that the political left is normalizing violence. Medvedev has used social media to attack the West and push Kremlin narratives condemning its support for Ukraine against Russia's full-scale invasion. His latest post, as well as Dmitriev's, appear to exploit U.S. political division, particularly around Ukraine. So I'm going to pull this off the screen now. So it took no time at all for the Russians to rush out there and accuse the killer of being a pro-Ukraine individual. That is a fact. The Russians absolutely did that. The Russians are going to do whatever the Russians can do to sow chaos. The Chinese are going to do whatever the Chinese can do to sow chaos. The Iranians are going to do whatever the Iranians can do to sow chaos. This is how it works. Every country does this. We do it. Every country I just listed do it. The Brits do it. The French do it. The Israelis do it. Every country in the world with an intelligence apparatus does things to sow chaos among their adversaries. And that leads me to kind of the critical question. We know Tyler Robinson. We know for a fact he was on these websites, in these chat rooms, talking to unknown people. The United States government has not released those conversations. The United States government has not released the content of what was being said and who or what or who he was talking to. Did he even know who he was talking to? For those of you who don't know, there are dark corners of the internet, I would say borderline satanic, where people find themselves down these rabbit holes, get radicalized, and oftentimes the people doing the radicalizing are doing it from different countries. Happens all the time. Look at the amount of bots you see on any social media website posing as one thing, saying one thing, and the people look at the profile, they think it might be a real person. It's not. It's a foreign entity, just like Spencer Cox talked about when it came to the Russian and the Chinese. This is how it works. I'm not saying that that's what happened, but the best thing the United States government could do if they want to end speculation about foreign involvement, release all the messages, find out every single person Tyler Robinson was talking to, be able to draw a clear line of how he became radicalized, who radicalized them, what radicalized them, so that there's no doubt among the American people. Having said that, if you were a bad actor, a foreign country with bad intentions, what would you have done differently? You're never going to be able to get someone, hopefully, knock on wood, it would be horrific if it did. You're not going to be able to get an actual government official. They have protection, they've got Secret Service, and it would be an act of war. But if you wanted to sow anarchy within the United States, what would you do? What would you do? You might target a beloved national figure. You might inflame tensions within the United States. And again, it's not like one or two countries behave this way. We all do. All of our countries are online this way. All the major countries are hacking each other. They are spreading misinformation. They are spreading disinformation. That is standard operating procedure. I will tell you this as well. People who are experts in this have a lot of questions that have yet to be answered. The key one being, how was Tyler Robinson radicalized? He came from what appears to be an all-American family, what appears to be an incredible support system. He was a 4.0 student. He had a top 1% ACT score, appeared very normal in his younger years, very happy in his younger years. And then something happened along the way. And we've seen this happen before. We have seen this happen before, not necessarily with a foreign entity, which again, we don't know whether or not that happened here. We know comments have been made and the US government should release all the evidence as quickly as possible to make sure there's not lingering doubt. But we have seen people become radicalized through these dark websites. We saw it in well, I got to be careful with my words here because again, YouTube can be very careful. There was a shooting not that long ago, less than a year ago, where all the evidence points to this, to a person who was normal, got online, started talking to people behind a screen, and later turned out to be radicalized, and they promoted and were encouraged to do violence. There's evidence that the Minnesota shooter could have been caught in that same loop. If you think for 1 second our enemies, China, Iran, Russia, wouldn't try to radicalize people within the United States, you are out of your mind. They would do it without hesitation. And operations like that allow it to look like their fingerprints aren't all over it. So you have the FBI who refused to talk about it. You had the governor of Utah openly stating Russia and China are using this to their advantage, which I'm sure they are, right? You had a reporter go on TV and say there were foreign intelligence signs of it. And you have the Russians immediately coming out and blaming Ukraine for the shooting, which there's no evidence of, to be crystal clear. I want to be very careful with my words. I can tell you that, again, people who do this for a living, they want to know who this guy was talking to. We all should want to know who this guy was talking to. And if it wasn't anybody other than his close circle of friends, what were they saying that radicalized them? And if we don't know who he was talking to, why do we not know? Let's go back to when Trump got shot in Butler, Pennsylvania. To this day, more than a year later, 15 months later, 14 months later, we still don't know who that guy was talking to. The government has released no evidence of how that guy got radicalized. None. They still, if you believe the official story, have not been able to get into his cell phones. How, with our government apparatus, our intelligence apparatus, can the former president, at the time the Republican candidate, now current president, get shot in the ear by a loner with no social media presence, and they can't hack into his phones? That to me is pretty odd. And the fact that we really have not been told much about Tyler Robinson, he's not cooperating, he has not confessed, is troubling to me. They need to release every message in the guy's phone. They need to release every message he ever wrote online. And they need to figure out every person he talked to along the way. And they need to figure out who they were and what their intentions were. So right now, there is no concrete evidence that a foreign country was involved. There is speculation from officials and the media. It's possible. And we have been told that Russia and China are using this to whip people into a frenzy. And on that note, I want to say I'm very proud of how peaceful the reaction from the right and the center have been. Prayer vigils, prayer meetings, churches are full. I said a prayer with my friends the night it happened when we got together on Wednesday night. You haven't seen violence. You haven't seen riots. So if foreign countries are trying to stir things up, it's not working. It's failed. which is a good thing. That is a sign of American resolve and American strength. And it's a sign of how Charlie Kirk supporters are living life the right way. But that's where we're at. There are a ton of questions that need to be answered, and people deserve answers. Charlie Kirk was brutally had his life snatched away, and those videos will haunt people forever. The images are seared into people's brains. That's the reality of the situation. And we deserve answers. We deserve to know everything we can find out about Tyler Robinson and everything we can find out about whoever he was in communication with, whoever they are. Nothing should be concealed. And if it turns out that people he was talking to on these webs were actors in a different country, that's going to bring up some very tough conversations for our government to have. But we'll have to have them. As of right now, no concrete evidence has been released to back that up. And I'm not going to sit here and float conspiracy theories. We're going to stick to what we know, and we're going to stick to what's been publicly said. But I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below. What do you think about this situation, this tragedy, this horrible situation? Please make sure to like and subscribe. Totally free. Cost you guys absolutely nothing at all. Huge boost to the channel. Hit that bell. All notifications turn on. You won't miss a single thing. And then right here, Instagram, David_Hookstead, X, D Hookstead. That's where you can find me on social media. DMs are open for any information you want to see me. Till then, I will keep you all updated. I'll see you all next time.